Probably the most overused analogy in grappling is that it is like chess. The reality is that grappling is a lot less complicated than chess, but there are still aspects to jiu-jitsu and judo that we can draw from chess and compare. Probably one of the most common is the opening game. So in the opening game in chess, you have pawns, you have pawn movement, you have controlling the center, and you have little movements that can actually make a big deal throughout the fight. The same thing with gripping. Gripping at the beginning of a grappling match is actually setting the pace for the rest of the match. If I can't get my grips proper on my partner, then I'm going to have problems. The same thing, if he can get a better grip on me, then I'm going to have problems either because he's going to be jumping guard or he's going to be throwing me and then taking position, all this kind of stuff, and then I have to work uphill against what just happened. So a lot of beginners have problems trying to figure out where to put the hands. And the reason for that is a lot of times jiu-jitsu guys actually practice more wrestling than they do judo, which is a mistake if you're fighting gi. Where to put the hands on the gi? The idea here is that there's prime real estate and subprime real estate on the gi. We're trying to focus on prime real estate. The concept is that when we're getting our grips, we need to control the other person's balance and defend our own balance. But controlling balance is really related to controlling posture. So ideally, I want to be able to control Rob high and control his head. It's the same thing in every fighting sport. Like in Muay Thai, we're trying to get a Thai plum and control his posture, the same kind of thing. So when we're grappling, an ideal grip would be to control with the thumb in behind the neck and control the head and control the posture. It's not always possible in a fight. People are really defending that kind of grip. So what ends up happening typically is the gripping is around the chest. Having said that, if you can get a grip behind the person's collar and you're not shorter than them, because that's a disadvantage if you're shorter, but if you're the same height or you're taller, then this would be an ideal grip with the sleeve, controlling the sleeve. Next would be upper chest, and then as we start to go down the gi, this becomes subprime. The reason it's subprime is because it does not control posture. There's a lot of slack, and we don't get the same kind of control that we would on the upper body, which is what I need when I'm going to be throwing or when I'm going to be trying to control my partner. When jiu-jitsu guys don't have a lot of experience in the gripping component, they end up burning out a lot of energy that they're going to need on the ground. You actually need your forearms a lot when you're working on the ground. But if you don't have the right technical knowledge from the standing component of the grips, by the time you get to ground, your forearms are already burnt and you have problems working. So some ideas to keep in mind to minimize that and also work more efficiently. When I'm holding lapel, I don't need to use my thumb all the time. So you want actually the thumb to be relatively relaxed. The thumb is actually not holding so much gi and controlling so much more than what the four fingers are. If I need to, I can grab once in a while, but for the most part, the thumb's going to be relaxed so that I can play and not burn out my entire forearm. The other hand that's controlling the sleeve is going to hold one of 2 points. It's going to be under the elbow and or close to the wrist. So it's either at the joint here or at the joint here. But the principle here is the same, which is that slack is the enemy. So if I'm going to be holding close to the wrist, I don't want there to be too much play. It has to be snug. And the same thing on the elbow. A little tip, so a little pro tip from here. In every gi, there's a seam. The idea is I'm trying to get that seam to go into the small of the fingers right where it's joining the hand. That becomes like a little handle that makes it much harder for him to break and pull away versus grabbing anywhere where it's smooth.